Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm MaryAnne, and you're watching MaryAnne's Mystic Mentions. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you're having an amazing day. And I mean that sincerely, because every single day has something so beautiful and magical and amazing about it, if we choose to see it, right? Now, this is kind of a feeling I brought as I entered into the room today to do the videos. First of all, in my normal fashion, I am on the mid-month readings, and today's featured sign is I pick 2 sun sign love connection readings every day, or every day that I can film, which is pretty much every day. And today's featured sign is that a beautiful fire sign element, I should say, of Sagittarius. Whoo, beautiful, optimistic, truth-seeking. We had the full lunar eclipse, moon eclipse in Sagittarius on May 26th, and that information and that power and that drive and that influence, I guess you could say, energy certainly wise, is still affecting us and can happen through the end of the year for that many months. It's a story that it brings to us. It can change our life instantly, bringing new things in, taking things out, eclipsing, hence the term eclipse, eclipsing things out immediately. Some we see, we kind of project and create, I guess you could say. Others are just, certainly unknown. And this truth-seeking, higher learning, philosophical, freedom-provoking sign of Sagittarius is so, I don't know, I find it so contagious and exciting and fun. And, they are immutable signs that they're constantly liking to try new things, go new places, certainly travel. That's huge for Sagittarians. And you know what I'm speaking of if you're watching, because you're probably planning your next 2 or 3 little trips or big trips or whatever it is. I know so many Sagittarians, and that's always been the case, which I love, because I love to travel too. And as much as I have not traveled, I'm not giving up on that, and I would love to travel with some of these Sagittarians that I know, because they just make it so much fun. But what was really happening, as I was starting to say, is I was realizing that, like when I do my readings, it's just I pick cards for people, and they have an idea in their mind, and they hold the cards, and they have an intention or they have a question, and we don't even go to that question until after the reading, because a lot of times it comes up on its own through the reading. Point in case, when you have a reading, you may get one of the best cards at the end, at the outcome, the sun, the brilliance of the sun, and our energy and our creativity in its fullest expression, and, just this lively, ego-filled, pushing kind of life. And the person might be like, oh okay, I think I can make that happen. I think that could be my life. Or they're just like, that's it. That's who I am. That's what this reading was about. It's so important as to how the perspective is of the person who is being read to, and what they feel about their life and their belief systems and so on and so forth. So I hope you're having a great day in some form or another, because every day is a blessing for sure. And so I'm reading for you, beautiful Sagittarius, and I'm going to pick your highlighted connection, I call it, that Spirit likes to have you know about for today, which is actually, what is it now? It's June 24th, 25th. Yesterday was the full moon in Capricorn. So, that's just about success and planting those seeds and the determination inside of all of us, because we're all getting the feeling of the full moon, right? We all get to have that possibility come to us in our life, and to kind of take hold of that energy. And it's beautiful when it's in Capricorn, because they are all about comfort and love and the material world and practicality, and working really hard at it, because they understand that, yes, we can all create, we can all manifest, and it's a co-creation kind of thing at all times. But we do have to put that effort in there. It's not all about the universe constantly giving, which it constantly is, right? So it's a really interesting thought process, but it's all always to better our lives. And so your highlighted connection could be a person you know about. My love connections are about all different types of love, whether you're with a person or not, your love of life, your love of a job, certainly people, family, co-workers, all sorts of things. So, and definitely that one special soulmate that comes to you, and it's just like they're so, it's like you've been with them before, and they get you, and you don't have to be anything but you. So that's a really beautiful thing. That's not always how it works, but I think that's where you always strive for, Sagittarius. And so if it's not a person you know right now, give it some time. These readings are good anytime you watch them, but they also have influence in your life for a long time other than the day that you're watching it. So it could be a feeling you're having. It could be that energy is just really coming through to you specifically for some reason. And your highlighted connection, I was just looking at that. I swear, I almost think of it because I have a new tablet now, and the other one's upstairs. It's on the cusp almost, but it's really more with Pisces. And I'm almost positive as I'm sitting here, this happened last time with you. And this is a very common connection that I see many, many times, Sagittarius and Pisces. You're both mutable. You're both very open and willing to change and to, conform, if you will. Though that word is that's not a kind word to Sagittarians. I'm not going to lie. Their independence and their freedom is so substantial to them. And yes, they can follow the rules and all this sort of thing. I'm not saying that. But the word conform kind of turns them off a little bit. And so I would like to choose, I'll think about it. But anyway, these two work so well because, we have Jupiter in the sign of Pisces right now. And whenever Jupiter is in your sign, it's like some of the best times of your life, best circumstances, luck comes from nowhere. You're in the right place at the right time. Not to mention that historically, Jupiter is and has been the ruling planet of Pisces, as it is your ruling planet. So there's this real synergy going on right now between the two of you. And I think some really brilliant things, what with both of the eclipses, first in your sign, Sagittarius, and then the new moon eclipse on June 10th in Gemini, extremely complementary energy for you as well. Air and fire work together very well. There's just a lot of potential and possibilities that you're believing in. So you can think it all you want, but if you don't believe it, it will not happen. And if you don't feel it and express it or put it out there, which you're very good at doing, you're very demonstrative, very spirited, very forthright about what you do as a fire sign. It seems like great, beautiful energy. I've actually got little goosebumps going up my shins right now, truthfully. So there's love, there's compassion, there's healing in areas that perhaps in relationships had suffered in the last year. I mean, all of us had some interesting stories we've been saying, even those that thought it was one of the better times for them, which also occurred, for them and certain people being at home and not having to be around crowds and not having to conform to going to the office and such. It worked wonderfully. But, as the changes are still occurring and we're opening back up in many ways, I think the heart is the center of so much of this. And that's where the Pisces, Jupiter and Pisces really comes in. So, you are ruled by Jupiter, as I said. A lot of positivity there. Any sign or planet you happen to have that has Jupiter aspects is going to be notably more of a possibility for you at this time. And then next year, for most of the year, not all of the year, but for most of the year, will be Jupiter and Pisces. So look forward to some really special things that you're starting now, initiating, coming to the forefront. So the two of you together can just create amazing, wonderful possibilities together on all levels of your life. And I'm going to read to you the three major categories that would have to do with this highlighted connection. But if it isn't something or someone you're familiar with, don't go away too quickly or fast forward, because the two oracles at the end are the divinations I read for every single Sagittarius and every one of your connections and every single sign. So everyone has some message for themselves if they're interested and would like to hear that. So I am also picking for the second half of this month, for the first time, I changed my tarot decks and my oracles from the beginning of the month to mid-month readings. And this time I've changed the oracles, but except for the one I always keep. It's just it's my OG, deck for those that have come back. And thank you for coming back. Thank you for supporting my channel. There's so many options out there, so many beautiful readers. And, it's so wonderful that you would, you know, connect and have a resonance with me. That's always my intention, you know, and that you connect with the readings, of course. And so, yeah. The first category, oh, I was going to say, I picked this one for you today, Sagittarius, because I've been picking a new tarot deck every day for the sign that just seems to just feel right. And I have not used this for a long time. I got about, I want to say 8 or 9 decks from one of my brothers who used to do tarot readings way back in the 80s as well. And he just said, here, it was a Thanksgiving like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh. One of the best gifts ever, and they're from all over the world, and this is called the Empinal Tarot. So, it had the sun on it, and that just made me think of you, because you are a fire sign, and you are bright and brilliant, and you really are about teaching and helping and, you know, educating others, and you know, you're open to so much, and you're loving and caring, and you're the real deal. So Sagittarius, for you in this beautiful connection of Pisces, the overall energy you have is the 8 of Wands. Is that the 8 of Wands? I'm sorry, the 4. Forgive me. The 4 of Wands. I counted the 4 and the 4. Beautiful, bright, wonderful colored illustrations here. And the 4 is about stability. This relationship, this connection feels extremely good. It feels very, very stable. And, you know, in this unstable world and unpredictable world, it feels really nice to have that with someone, and to have that, just that underlined feeling of just calm and well, definitely compassion is coming through, but definitely just that, yeah, we get it. We are connecting in all the right ways, and it feels easy. It actually, for many times, I say this and I've mentioned it before, I feel like for probably more so Sagittarius than Pisces. Pisces is all about love, and they're going to give their heart completely, okay? And they will cater to you, and they will listen to you, and they are sensitive, and they are psychic, and they are very much about feeling and empathy. And having that in your corner is no small feat. It's a beautiful thing to have, but it's just, it feels really right. It feels, like I said, stable and secure right now. And, you know, the Pisces is kind of a, let's just go with the flow. I'm not necessarily, you know, set on this, that, and the other. And you're kind of digging that too, because you're that way as well. It just works. Beautiful beginning to the reading, beautiful energy. And we are going to go for the second category, which, you know, these are like a storyline that kind of goes. But the categories are usually answer to the questions that most of my, you know, clients have ever asked, or viewers, I should say, comments and such. And the second one is over the possible blessings or obstacles that may be affecting you in the latter part of this month and possibly longer. And what you have is, ooh, the Knight of Swords. So very, very interesting. It's very much a part of what this whole year, certainly coming into this year, was predominantly about, with Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius, Saturn in the sign of Aquarius. Both are now retrograde, but both have as much influence as far as what they mean when it's retrograde, and it lasts 3 or 4 months for this. This happens every year. So it's more about going inward with ourselves versus how the outside world is affecting us. We've already had so much of that. It's how we take that and what we do to process that and let it marinate, and then decide once again, what is our truth? What do we want to do moving forward without any disruptions or distractions? And you're going to get that with the swords, because they're the air sign, and that's what Aquarius is, as I said. And yes, Jupiter went into Pisces for the short stint to give it a little idea of what will happen for them next year, but it goes right back into Aquarius on the 28th of July for the rest of the year till the 28th of December. So all about truth, all about clarity, especially with us no longer being in the Mercury retrograde, which was also in an air sign, which was Gemini, which was also the eclipse, the new moon eclipse on the 10th, Gemini, air sign. thoughts, information, creativity, ideas, innovation, moving forward, being entrepreneurial, getting out of that box or that ceiling in a specific job, which was taken away maybe or lost in the last year. It opened up your mind and your ideas that you'd never even experienced before. It doesn't matter what sign you are. And it's truth, and it's sometimes it's working through the contradictories and the confusion, and being very logical as much as you can in life, which Piscean is not necessarily for understanding it. They work through their emotions and their intuition to know how to work their lives. But the two together with your heart and your mind is the epitome of an understanding of ourselves. And you got a lot of information coming through. That is what the Knights represent. They represent messages. And with the Knight of Swords, it's pretty quick, pretty fast. So something having to do with this wonderful relationship, stability that I'm seeing is only going to improve, and it seems as though it's really a fast, like I said, moving. It's an intellect. It's of higher knowledge. It's about medicine or the law, or some kind of, maybe if you have a law case, fast information, most likely in your favor. And yeah, just bam, there you go. One moment you don't know it, the next you do. And that's pretty exciting, actually, because I know with the retrograde, it slowed a lot of the questions down, and the confusion of communications and not getting back to answers and the delays and so forth. Every day past the retrograde, as we go, and we're still in the shadow period, it's just going to clear that up. So prepare. If you had the specific, issue or something that needed to be talked about, and you needed to get the information and the answers for it, they're coming through. Congratulations. I would consider that a blessing. The only obstacle was that you had to wait. Patience is a virtue, and that's what this wonderful Capricorn full moon is supposed to really help us with, because it's not always easy, but divine timing is really where it's at. And you can wish as much as you want for something to happen faster, but if it's not, it's going to be because it wasn't supposed to happen. As you get older, it gets a little more understandable. It doesn't always feel right, but it makes more sense to me. I hope it does to you. Final category being that of finances. Wow. You have the Eight of Wands. This is all about your fired up energy, Sagittarius, and you are just pushing that out to everybody with these eclipses that you did. Making us remember our strength, making us believe. When it's the Eight of Wands, this is some of the fastest news. Like, it just traveled so fast. It's going to change the trajectory of your life. So you're going to have clear communication, and you're going to have very quick information about finances. It's going to be built upon. 8 is a magical abundance and prosperous number in numerology. You go from the 4, which is the stability, to the 8, which just keeps growing and adding. And it's so phenomenal if you choose to believe that, and that you are worth that, which of course we all are. Of course we have days we doubt. I get that. Let those be gone. Imagine yourself with the best, the most. It's infinite. And it's just a matter of your choices that you make. And this is a gorgeous, inspirational, fired up, passionate kind of, by the way, no wonder I'm thinking, what else is this? And Spirit just told me, we have Mars in Leo. That's your fellow fire sign, Sagittarius. So it's all about the courage and that strength, and that, look at me, man. This is me, and I am proud of who I am. Every cell of me, every portion of me, good, bad, or otherwise, it's who I am, and it's perfect the way I am. And in that kind of energy is it's going to bring in a lot of really wonderful things if you are prepared. And it looks as though with this 4 of Wands, you have that foundation ready. You've been waiting, and you've been inspirational, and you've never given up. And you trusted, and all those wonderful things, because you're an optimistic sign, Sagittarius. That's what happens. I mean, people may poo-poo that, but I say the more optimistic you can be, well, the better it feels. And it's amazing how that kind of energy does create that right back at you. So I love that. I am going to finish with the rune. I forgot to mention, I like to, culminate the reading, if you will, with the Oracle of the Rune, because they're phenomenally accurate a lot of times, and they work so well with the readings that I've noticed. I just love to share this. And I picked up what I would call the Zorro. It looks like a Z. This is a beautiful amethyst rune, so it wards away the toxins and the energies you don't need. It's a healing and protective energy. You can carry it in your pocket and you'll have this kind of wonderful, you know, protection with you at all times. I put it on the second category, which is the possible blessings or obstacles. This is with the Knight, which is about information, fast, swift information coming in that you want to know about and you've been waiting to hear. And I would love to hear. So if you have not subscribed, and I like to call it follow, just push the subscribe button for me. Comment and let me know, and I will respond as soon as I can, because that's a huge reason why I do this channel, is to interact with you. And I love the fact that you have done that for me. You really make my day. So it's a win-win for me. Thank you so much. And so let me read from the book is what I was starting to do, because I have not memorized these. That will take some time. I'm not going to kid myself into thinking otherwise, but everything worthwhile takes time, right? I've watched and readers who do runes, and it was one of the first things I ever tuned into when I got my first PC back in like 97. They had Rune of the Day. I was like, I want my rune read. So this particular rune, like I said, it looks like the Zorro, and it is number 13. You see, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's number 13. And it is EWAZ. And you know what? EIHWAZ. Well, 1 plus 3 is the 4 again. It's about this wonderful, strong sense of self, preservation, presence, clarity, foundation, stability. All the things that I feel like, certainly for myself, I'll speak for myself, in my dreams, in my desires and my wishes, those are a big part of them, you know. And I know it's kind of hard to always have that in completion in a way, you know. I mean, it's always an ongoing thing and what changes and so forth. But knowing that I can put my feet on the ground and I can feel the earth underneath my feet and I can feel the connection and that feeling of, I want to say calm and, you know, present, because it's so important to stay that grounded at times when things get very, very chaotic, I guess. We do have Neptune that's actually stationing retrograde today, so there might be a little bit more in the next week or so of this kind of vacillating between, I'm not really clear on that, and am I imagining this? Is this really happening? Well, that's the influence that Neptune has. Also, by the way, in the sign of Pisces. Has been for a while, will be for another 4 or 5 years. Just be aware of that. You know, it might be a little fuzzy. Wait till it clears, like I said, along with the continuous momentum forward motion of Mercury, the fastest moving planet, having to do with our ideas, our communication, our thoughts. Take the time to kind of chill and feel that sense of foundation and grounding. It'll help immensely. Get outside, do what you need to do. I know most of the Sagittarians and Pisces, I know, love that. Spend time with your animals. It's such a wonderful distraction, you know, because it's real and it's present and they love you and you love. It's just a wonderful, wonderful form of grounding, I think. So we go into, once again, 13. EWAZ, and that is, open right up to it. Guess what it is? I love you, Spirit. I love you so much. The word associated with EWAZ is horse. And that's what the Sagittarian is. It's half man, half horse. So it's just for you, my dear Sagittarians. And your highlighted connection. And the words, okay, the time frame is between March 13th and March 30th and April 13th. So we're talking Aries, fire sign, you know, the beginning of the first sign of the zodiac, right? Your fellow fire sign, in addition to Leo. That determination, that leadership, that confidence that's comes through with all Aries I've ever met. You know, that's how they're born. They don't know any better. They are the leader. They're the first. They have to initiate their cardinal signs. They start things. You know, they start the astrology year. That's when astrology year starts in March. And they start the season of spring, for heaven's sakes. All of these kind of influence that you were starting to really pick up your momentum started at this time for you. The words associated with this, though, are friendship. And I mentioned that from the beginning. A lot of Sagittarians prefer friendship. Or I started to. I may have gotten sidetracked knowing myself and the influence is occurring at this time. It's important to stay focused. Yeah, friendship, loyalty, trust, devotion, marriage, promotion, and increase. It's on the way. I mean, this is what the cards have been saying. And I like the marriage part. I didn't bring that up, but you know, when you have that Four of Wands for the stability, it's about everything. It's about family. It's about relationships. It's about the commitment that works, you know, and you may have spent a lifetime finding this, or it may be that you're young and you still found it, because age really doesn't enter into it. It's a soul job. That's a beautiful little cherry on the sundae, if you will, for your reading, with the beautiful Ewaz rune. So I'll finish with the two oracle messages I told you for every single Sagittarius and every one of your beautiful connections, because I know you have a lot. I've never known a Sagittarius that doesn't have a large social circle, you know, in all walks of life. There's no, you know, prejudice. There's no, you know, when a Sagittarius flares up, it's short, it's over, it's like, what was I upset with? Let's move on. I don't know. They don't carry any, you know, what is it called when a person has a vendetta or grudge? I guess they don't do that. And it's beautiful, it's pure, and it's authentic, and it's what you see is what you get with them. They're very attractive in many levels, both genders. So your special oracle from the wisdom of the oracle is the message of, I just pulled this recently, but I have shuffled it quite a bit. Soulmate. So there's something up. You may have had this person in your life for many years. As I said, as a Sagittarius, you're okay with that. You can go for years. You don't have to commit. Yeah, and marriage is not necessarily the first thing on your priority list. But times may be changing. You know, when you have an eclipse in your sign like you did, and it was the full moon that really shines a light on your, I would say your internal, because it's the feminine. You know, this moon is the feminine, the sun is the masculine, the energy, the ego and such. I think you may be going through those changes that most of us go through. We think, I'm not doing that. And next thing you know, a certain amount of years go by and you have a whole different perspective. Well, Pisces is all about different perspective. The card that associates with Pisces is the Hangman. So they're upside down in their spiritual world, and they believe in the guidance and their truth and their highest power within themselves. And they like to see things from a different perspective. They're quite happy to do so. And they wait and they listen and they take flight when the time is right. There's two birds, so there's a lot of hearts. And by the way, the number is 41. You can see a beautiful kind of benevolent figure in the background, and it's the guardian angels. It's watching over this, and it's kind of like almost destined, you know, which is a lot of what's happened too in these months, and tends to happen during like Cancer season we're in, where there's that incredible, amazing ability to just pull in circumstances, have these amazing dreams that are very prophetic, very in tune with your intuition. It's a very key and high time. It's water, you know, it's our fullest feeling self. So 4 + 1 is change. It's a 5. It's definitely a change. It's a 5-year. And you know, we had a lot of change last year, but there's even more this year because of last year. Like I thought last year would have been it, but no, we got to figure out and reset and do all that. So that creates change, and it's good for us, and it's really welcome at this point, because they're the changes I think a lot of us are wanting to see. There'll never be anybody always happy, but you know what I'm saying. And it has to happen within yourself anyway. Let me read to you what it says from the book specifically, though, okay? And just say that I'm happy for those percentage of you that are exactly aware of what I'm speaking of. And if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you're going to make that commitment after a long time. We're at the back here with 41. Yeah, I opened to 42. So 41. Soulmates. Harmonious partnerships, love, friendship, companionship, a relationship fostering personal growth, which also the room mentioned, the friendship and the oracle's message. You are meant to evolve and transform with the companionship of others. Certain people enter into your life in order to take you to the next level of healing. If anyone's going to heal, it's going to be that Pisces influence. And many others. It doesn't have to just be but they're going to be helping the world, and then who you choose to connect with. Consciousness and authenticity. It is always a reciprocal experience, although the results for each of you will vary. You know these people by the strong pull during drawing you towards them, and sometimes by a strong aversion to them initially too. I did just read this for another sign. It had to have been perhaps the last reading I did. Soulmates can be friends for life or remain in your life for only a short time. No matter what, you will be changed in ways you can't possibly fathom now. Pay attention to these people today. They are your greatest gifts. So I get really excited because that's exactly what you certainly deserve, what you have been bringing in, consciously or otherwise, and the information and the guides and the messages are just pointing towards that, and I'm really happy for you. So we'll finish with the Oracle, the OG Super Attractor Manifestation deck, where you manifest the life you want. And you take the time and you recognize the reasons, and you don't expect to have something just instantly necessarily come in, though it can. And you know that when you work with the universe, it's going to happen even more, because it is a co-creation. It truly, truly is. And you want to feel really good in the process at all times. And that's a real key component to the law of attraction. So your message in ending today, Sagittarius: when I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I deserve. And there is a difference. Oh my gosh, is there ever? But I really hope, like I entered this reading today, which is making sure that you all are feeling good and happy and grateful at this moment for anything. And you're going to open up a whole incredible world of a lot of good stuff and the things you desire. They all kind of go in hand. It's like a side effect. Look at the beautiful, beautiful colors of the second chakra and the close to the grounded, you know, the creativity, the second chakra, the passion and the initiative and the creativity and the physicality, you know, sensuality, sexuality. Oh, that's a big part of all this, you bet. So enjoy. And if you liked it, once again, let me know. It's so cool if you woo, if you woo, and have a great weekend ahead. Come on back for your July 1st of the month readings. And until then, thank you again. Bye for now.